which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Alderman Hoffman.
Here.
Alderman Barella.
Here.
Alderman Rucker.
Here.
Alderman Collins.
Here.
Alderman Morose.
Here.
Alderman Osteen.
Here.
Mayor Harmonson.
Here. All right, Citizens Communications section. This is the time set aside on the agenda for citizens and visitors to address the mayor and the board on any topic that is not a public hearing. For those here. Hello? What do we got going on?
I just
here?
lost you.
All right, for those here in person, speakers will be restricted to 3 minutes unless otherwise permitted. Minutes may not be donated or transferred from one speaker to another. Any questions or comments for the mayor and the board may be also sent to the city clerk at tberreth@osagebeach.org no later than 10 a.m. on the board meeting day, the first and third Thursday of each month. Submitted questions and comments may be read during the citizens communications section of the agenda. The Board of Aldermen will not take any action on any item not listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to questions, although staff may be directed to respond at a later time. The mayor and the board welcome and value input from the public. Is there anybody here who would like to address the board? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to the approval of the consent agenda. If the board so desires, the consent agenda may be approved in a single motion. Has the board had a chance to review the minutes from the special meeting February 4th, 2026, the regular meeting February 5th, 2026, and the bills list from February 19th, 2026? And if you have, do you have any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Alderman Hoffman, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Collins, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing no opposed, the consent agenda passes. Next, we're going to move on to the bills list, financial update. Turn it over to City Administrator Devin Lake.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. Our February sales tax, which reflects our December sales, put us over 11% over where we were at this time last year and 19.5% above our current budget. So we are still in a really strong position. Our January financials show that our overall revenues are over 9% higher than budgeted, and our expenditures are 4% under budget.
Comments or questions from the board? All right. Seeing none. All right, thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to old business, if I can find it. First item, old business. We have Bill 2607, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to apply for a 5-year extension to 2050 of the 1999 lease agreement between the City of Missouri Department of Natural Resources for Lee C. Fine Memorial Airport within the Lake of the Ozarks State Park. This is a second reading. Airport Manager Ty Dinsdale, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the board, I have nothing further to add unless anybody has any questions.
Alderman Osteen.
I do have one question, and that's on the timing. We are just now authorizing a request for the 5-year extension, but our actual lease expires March 5th. Will this be approved within the next 2 weeks or a week and a half?
It'll be approved after a final vote tonight, sir.
Okay. That's all.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve second reading?
So move.
Alderman Morose, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Barella. Roll call, please. Please. Or please.
Okay. Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
Alderman Barella.
Yes.
Alderman Collins.
Yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Yes.
All right. Second reading, Bill 2607 passes. Next, we have Bill 26-08, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, approving and accepting change order number 1 with the Four Seasons Plumbing LLC for the Margaritaville Sewage Relocation Project for an amount not to exceed $5,549. Public Work Director Jeff Fisher, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to add to the last discussion.
Comments or questions from the board? Alderman Hoffman.
I can't remember if I asked this last time, so if I did, I apologize. We feel like this is a one-time thing, or is this like the first of several, or?
No, this project's actually just about done. This is a one-time thing.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve second reading?
So moved.
Alderman Varela, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Hoffman, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Collins.
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Barella.
Yes.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
All right, Bill 26-08 also approved second reading. Next, we have Bill 26-09, an ordinance to the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 600 Alcoholic Beverages, Section 600.120, licensing regulations, and city code as set forth. City Attorney Cole Bradbury.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Also nothing to add unless you have any questions.
Alderman Collins.
So I was thinking about this over the last couple of weeks, and I have a couple of points of concern. I always feel weird changing the rules in the middle of something, and since we're in the middle of an election season right now, it feels like maybe it might be appropriate to hold off on making this change until after the election. The biggest things that where I've got some concern is that whether or not, certainly I feel like every person who works for the city should feel free to support any candidate that they want in any way that they want. But I feel like there could be some.
Alderman Collins, this is.
We're on alcohol.
Alcohol bill.
We're not there yet. I'm on the wrong blue sheet.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay. I'll wait till the next one.
Okay, but we know which one you're talking about, so we'll know
Yeah.
you'll have questions on that one, so.
Good lead in.
Bill 2609, is there anyone else has any comments or questions?
Not after that.
Seeing none, is there a motion to approve second reading?
So moved.
Alderman Osteen, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Morose, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
Alderman Barella. Yes. Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Collins.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Party on, Garth.
All right.
Yes.
And Alderman Morose.
Yes.
All right, Bill 26-09 passes second reading. Next, we're going to move on to Bill 26-10, an ordinance to the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 125, Human Resource System Personnel, Rules and Regulations, Section 125.030, General Provisions as set forth. Second reading. Alderman Collins, do you have any questions or questions?
You know, I think I might have one. Okay, so as I was just saying, certainly I think that everybody that works for the city should be able to support any candidate in any way that they want. But I fear that there could be unintended pressure felt if people are working with somebody that's up for reelection, that whether or not it's intentional or not, that people could feel some unintended pressure to assist the campaign, contribute, any of those things that make me a little bit hesitant for this. But like I was saying, I think my biggest concern is just changing the rules in the middle of an election season. Like maybe it should wait until after the April election before we do something with it.
City Attorney Cole Bradbury, you want to explain?
Obviously this didn't, I mean, that's the board's prerogative if you'd like to wait, but I'll just point out that we have elections year round. We have one in April, we'll have another one in August, we'll have another one in November, and then we'll have another one in April, August, November of next year, so we're never not in election season. And this doesn't just apply to municipal elections, this applies to any election. So this didn't come up, I wasn't looking through this because of the municipal election. In fact, well, not because of this municipal election, it actually came up because we had an employee with a question about holding office in a different political subdivision, and that's why we were digging into this and into the rules. What they wanted to do was already legal per our code, but you know, it's one of these, as we all know, once we get to looking at something, you kind of go, hey, wait a minute. So I don't think what we have right now is defensible in court, and so that is why I'm recommending we make the change. As we learned from the panhandlers case, if they catch you with something that's not kosher, they got you. So I would recommend moving promptly. I understand the concern about the timing, but it really has nothing to do with this election, and the changes that are being proposed have as much protection as I think we can defend against the influence. Nobody should be treated differently and so on. We tried to cover that as best we could, as best I could. So I do recommend approval.
So I get that, and I get that we have elections all year, but as it is, right now, numerous people sitting on this dais are running for election. So, yeah, I would just feel more comfortable waiting until after the April election. My 2 cents.
Alderman Osteen.
Yeah, I think the tone of this bill basically is to, I don't want to say relax our standards on people's ability to support the candidate they want, but it gives them more opportunity. So I don't see this as a detriment. I think it's really just giving them more leeway and more ability to, in their private life, be able to support who they like and contribute to who they like. So I have no issues with the bill because I think we're basically giving them more leeway.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve second reading?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Rucker, is there a second?
A second.
Alderman Osteen, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Yes.
Alderman Collins.
To take a page out of Alderman Osteen's book, I have a hesitant yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
Alderman Barella.
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
You already-
Oh,
Yes.
didn't I already did him? Oh, hi Hoffman, how are you? Alderman Hoffman.
Sure.
Excellent,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, Bill 26-10 also passes second reading. Next item, we have Bill 26-11, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 125, Human Resource System Personnel Rules and Regulations, Section 125.240, Other Employees' Benefits as set forth. Human Resource Director, Madeline, doggone it, Moon. We need to change that on there. It still has your old name on there. And we need to change Eric's name, too.
Did you do it? Good.
No further comments, any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve second reading?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Barella. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Osteen.
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Collins.
Yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
Alderman Barella.
Yes.
All right, Bill 26-11 also passes second reading. Last item of old business, unfinished business, we have Bill 26-12, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, adopting the 2026 through 2030 capital improvement and asset replacement plan. City Administrator Devin Lake.
I have nothing further, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anything from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve second reading?
Motion to approve?
Alderman Hoffman, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Barella, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Yes.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
Alderman Collins.
Yes.
Alderman Barella.
Yes.
All right, Bill 26-12 also passes second reading. New business. First thing is we have a proclamation, and I'm going to go ahead and read this one. We received some false information on what the date is, so we were kind of right before the meeting looking at this, and it looks like it's already passed February 9th through the 15th. But I at least wanted to read it anyway in recognition. They come to us every year, and I do personally believe that Ronald McDonald's House is a wonderful thing. So even though the week has passed in remembrance of Ronald McDonald House Week, I do want to say that the Springfield to Ronald McDonald's House programs have provided a home away from home and an invaluable source and hope of comfort for families of seriously ill and injured children who must travel far from home for medical treatment. The 2 Ronald McDonald houses located in Springfield allow their guests to maintain a close contact with their seriously ill children, but by providing a secure and supportive environment at no required cost. The Ronald McDonald House near Cox South and the house at Mercy Kids have served the needs of 124 Camden County families, which I think is just fantastic. Thursday, January 29th, at various locations, they did have, at different McDonald's, they showed their support for the various Ronald McDonald houses in Springfield, the Share the Heart campaign. And the generous contributors had provided sponsorship funding and the underwritten cost of the Share of a Heart campaign. Ozarks Haywire 3, Great Southern Bank, Edward Jones, Mid-America Metal Forming, and the Color Graphic Printing. And so Ronald McDonald House in the Osage Beach, they also participated in this campaign through February 20th. So thank you very much to them as well. So appreciate what they do down there. Thank you for supporting Camden County. And sorry we missed it, but we certainly agree with what you've done. You're going to have to give me a second because I hit the wrong button. But I'm learning, Alderman Rucker.
That's why I messed up earlier in the meeting. I hit the wrong buttons too.
All right, first we have, kind of interested to hear about this, we have Eric Hundell, our Marketing Development Director, and a presentation of the sports feasibility study. So Eric, take it away, please.
Hi, good evening, everybody. First, I want to introduce Walter Franco. He's from Victus. Walter's going to be doing most of the heavy lifting tonight in the presentation. Tonight, I had a choice. I could either do a presentation and a motion at the same time, or I could do a presentation and then wait a couple weeks to do the motion at the next one. I opted to do that so I'd give you guys enough time to digest the information you're going to get here tonight. We got the next couple weeks that I can field more questions from you when they come out, and then in the next board meeting, we'll then make a motion of whether or not we're going to move forward or not. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Walter, and he's going to walk us through, and he and I will field any questions you have.
Thank you, Eric. So I guess just for make sure everyone can see, I'll be walking over here, and then do I just say next slide to kind of keep things moving? So I'll let me set my timer here because sometimes I like to talk and we'll keep going, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But again, good evening, Mayor and members of Aldermen and City Council. Pleasure to be with you today. Just want to quickly recognize the great work. It's been great working with Eric. I had a chance to meet with Alderman Hoffman as well, and meeting with the mayor. Really just, it's been fun to work with the city and just really understand what, from this study, what really matters to the community, and really, from a local usage standpoint, from a sports tourism angle, and it's just been a pleasure working with you all. Eric has been very helpful in facilitating all the data that we needed to really give you the recommendations that we'll be sharing with you today. So as I mentioned, Walter Franco with Victus Advisors. I'm a principal with the firm. We're based out of Park City, Utah. But we do these studies throughout the country. So you may be familiar with a facility that was built a few years ago in Columbia, the Columbia Field House. We did the feasibility study that led to the development, of that facility. But we do these studies, and we've done these studies in over 40 states throughout the country. If you can go to the next slide, please. Our purpose with this study, and the reason why we were hired, was to conduct a feasibility study to assess opportunities, plural, to, again, benefit the local community from a sports and recreation standpoint, but also see if there's an opportunity to enhance tourism, specifically sports tourism in the community. I don't think this will be a surprise to any of you, but I think the reason why you commissioned this study is that sports, youth and amateur sports tourism specifically, is a very resilient industry from a tourism standpoint. So we're finally away from COVID, but sports tourism was one of the industries that was resilient throughout COVID and also rebounded maybe the quickest out of other tourism sectors as well. So many communities, including here, are interested in seeing, okay, how do we capture, how do we capture and be part of that wave of youth and amateur sports? But again, at the same time, how do we also have and provide facilities that will also benefit the local community? And that was part of our process. And this is just phase one, where again, we looked at, we were here a few months ago, looked at local assessment of what's currently available from a local usage and sports tourism standpoint, compared with other facilities, specifically in the state of Missouri, that could be comparable or peer facilities, again, from indoor and outdoor. And speaking with local sports groups, regional sports groups, had stakeholder interviews, again, I mentioned with the mayor and other groups as well. And through all these inputs, through primary and secondary research data, helped to provide some recommendations on what the opportunities are for the lake area specifically. Assuming we move on to phase two in the future, and with the direction of the city, we would examine more specifically a specific type of facility and look at the financial ramifications, the economic impacts as well, and look at partnership and funding options as well to see how this facility could be both market sustainable and also financially and economically sustainable. If you can go to the next slide, please. So again, this is just kind of a more visual chart of what we've shown. I think there might be some people that are on the call that can't see, but just showing a flow chart of our research process. And we really, ultimately, our goal with this study is very meticulous. I think you may have a copy of our interim report thus far, which is just over 100 slides. And it really reflects that we really try to get as much data and information from, again, primary and secondary sources, so that as you read through the report, nothing will really be surprising from the conclusion, that you'll ultimately come up with the same conclusion as well based on the research that we've conducted. If you can go to the next slide, please. Just some quick takeaways. I'm not going to go through obviously the whole report, but just wanted to kind of talk briefly about the community and kind of what we found from the demographic and socioeconomic analysis that we partook. From a local market profile, again, this is no surprise to you, the city of Osage Beach is part of the lake area, and so collectively within a 30-minute drive time of the city of Osage Beach, you're looking at just over 50,000 people. And so this is essentially your primary user base for sports that are using sports facilities in the community that are currently here. And if there were a development of more sports facilities or recreation facilities, that would be your primary segment. These are the ones that are going to be using the facility Monday through Thursday, whether it's for practices, for leagues, for camps, clinics, usage during the morning, etc. Overall, from what we saw from this analysis was that it has a moderate population base, but in varied income levels. But again, it's still enough demand that you can justify discretionary income for using the facilities for leagues, practices, etc. Can we go to the next slide, please? We looked primarily at these facilities. Obviously, this isn't an exhaustive list, but these are local facilities that were frequently mentioned by stakeholders, user groups, and also through our research and seeing the facilities that are used most often for sports and events activities. This doesn't include all the high schools either. Oftentimes, with these facilities, if they're not publicly owned, but if they're owned by a private group or in many cases a school, they limit outside access. And so that oftentimes when we speak with local groups, they'll say, well, we want to use such and such high school, but we can't because either they're always booked or they price outrageous prices. And that's obviously the prerogative of the school because they want to limit it just to their programmings. There are some communities where they have partnerships with the city or the local jurisdiction and that they provide public access in addition to schools, but just an example of how that works. If we can go to the next slide, please. The main takeaway here is that, as you can see through that map, is in the lake area, these sports and recreation facilities are really spread out throughout the region. That's not necessarily a bad thing for local usage, but just something to just kind of consider. The biggest thing, though, is that there's currently, with the exception of Ballparks National, there's really not any other facilities that are capable right now of hosting mid-sized to larger tournaments that would bring people from out of town. And so that leads into our next analysis. If you can go to the next page, please, where we looked at almost 20 facilities, both indoor and outdoor, that are in the state of Missouri. These are the facilities through our research that showed are consistently hosting either small, medium, or large tournaments from, again, an outside complex and indoor sports complexes as well. If we can go to the next slide, please. And kind of two things that kind of come across here is if you look at rectangular fields and diamond fields, those are outdoor complexes. I'll go to the indoor in a second. There seems to be statewide several facilities that kind of meet that minimum threshold of anywhere between 6 to 8 minimum surfaces, and that's really what you need to be able to host these mid-sized to larger tournaments. Anything below that, you're essentially a local facility. But if you want to host larger tournaments and really maximize and generate economic impact, it has to be at 6 fields, in this case 6 rectangular fields or 6 diamond fields or above. As you can see here, Chesterfield Valley Athletic Complex has over 20 diamond fields. For rectangular fields, you see several here: Lake Country Soccer, Central Bake Sporting Complex, etc. If we can go now to the next slide for indoor. What's interesting here is that in the state of Missouri, there's really only 2 multi-use court facilities in the state that are really considered true sports tourism complexes in the post-COVID world, and that's Hy-Vee Arena, which is in Kansas City, and then also Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, which is in Overland Park, which is in Kansas, but it's part of the Kansas City market. That's actually a new facility that's part of this larger development, and that's doing pretty well because it's new. And when I mean new, it doesn't mean that it has all the bells and whistles of these sports tourism complexes. They don't need to be very complicated facilities, but they're new, they're shiny, they have flex rooms, they have hardwood courts, and so and also they're in a great geographic location. So again, that's kind of just something to keep in mind. Indoor fields, we do profile that, but indoor fields really don't generate economic impact because, again, this goes back to the concept of having minimum of 6 to 8 outdoor, in this case, outdoor fields. You're not really going to generate any tourism with 2 indoor turf fields. And so there really aren't actually any facilities nationwide that have more than 4 indoor turf fields and that are generating economic impact. If we can go to the next slide, please. So the main takeaway, again, is that, again, throughout the state of Missouri, there's only really two facilities that have indoor sports tourism potential. The outdoor diamond rectangular field seems to really be meeting the demand, and they're spread out throughout the state as well. If we can go to the next slide, please. As I mentioned before, we spoke with stakeholders, so with community leaders here in the lake area, and there was a lot of support for it. They mentioned kind of what we found as well, that there's a lot of limited sports facility, but they also noted that in order for it to be appealing, affordable, that there needs to be, it needs to make sense for the city from a financial standpoint. It also needs to be accessible to the city, to residents as well, and not just residents in Osage Beach, but also keeping in mind that this would be a facility that would benefit the lake area as well. If we can go to the next slide, please. Speaking with local user groups as well, kind of one of the main recurring theme was the need for an indoor sports facility. So there is an indoor sports facility right now with the YMCA, but having just more courts, number one, and having it be more accessible to the community without requiring a membership is something that's key for them. If we can go to the next slide, please. And then, again, this was speaking with other sports groups, specifically regional as well, is the multi-court need. So again, speaking minimum of 4 to 8 courts in order to operate effective tournaments. We can go to the next slide. We also conducted a survey, an online survey with residents from both Osage Beach and the lake area. From our results indicated that there's strong participation in youth and amateur sports across the lake area, but not a lot of satisfaction with which is what's currently available. And that's not an indictment on the community at all, because that's actually very common from all the other surveys we do throughout the country. Residents say, we wish we could have this, we wish we could have that. And that's for communities which don't have any new facilities that have been built maybe the last 5 years. So that's a very typical situation. The other thing too that was mentioned here, and actually which we receive a lot of feedback with other studies that we do, is a lot of the local groups that we speak with, they're frequently used to traveling to other communities for sports tourism, and they always say, we wish we could have that facility in our community so that we personally could finally host our own tournaments, and that we could stop traveling for a change and have them travel to come see us. So again, that's some of the feedback that we got through our survey analysis as well. If we can go to the next slide, please. So what I wanted to mention here was, so this was just all the different inputs that we received, right? And before I talk about this specifically, I wanted to speak specifically about the Lake Area region. I have a little unorthodox for me to do this here, but I want to go back to the full report here, where we had a map in the full report which showed what the general population was within a 5-hour drive time. So this will be in your full report that I think you have access to, but I'm just going to jump quickly here because this is just kind of a really strong takeaway about this area in general. And let me, where is it? Local drive time and, okay, here we go. Apologies. Whoops. Maybe it's, I won't bore you through it. I need to find it in my 110 pages. But long story short, being in the state of Missouri, you have access to Arkansas, Oklahoma, Illinois, et cetera. So within a 5-hour drive time, you're talking about tens of millions of people. So we're in Utah, we're Salt Lake City. We have a population in the Wasatch Front, about 2 million people or so. The next largest population base is 8 hours away in Denver, Colorado to the east. And then to the southwest, 5.5 hours to Las Vegas. And then to the north, really, Boise, Idaho, but it's a smaller community than Salt Lake. And so in the West Coast, you're very isolated in different markets and don't have the same type of access to multiple states with high population centers. In this case with Osage Beach and the Lake area, again, you're able to draw from St. Louis, from Kansas City, from Little Rock, Arkansas, from Oklahoma City, et cetera, all within a pretty accessible drive time. And so that really allows for a lot of diversity in programming from a sports tourism standpoint. Already, the Lake area has a great reputation as an outdoor community for, especially during the summertime, for the lake and other activities. And so you already have that reputation. And so oftentimes, you know, again, as communities want to diversify their tourism programming, it's okay, we're already known for these things. How else can we enhance our tourism? And specifically in the colder months. And so this is kind of where we come out with all the inputs that I had mentioned with our recommendations, is that we did find that there is significant demand in the lake area specifically for an indoor sports facility. Again, given what I had mentioned before, the important thing is that it at least needs to be 6 to 8 courts to really be a significant economic driver and to be able to draw tournaments. The other key thing here too is, for an indoor sports facility, and actually an advantage, is the ability to really diversify the types of events. So when we talk about an indoor sports center, we're not just talking about basketball and volleyball, or basketball or volleyball, but basketball, volleyball, pickleball, wrestling, cheer and dance, camps, clinics, league play, and a bevy of other opportunities in sports and non-sports activities as well. Some feedback that we had received as well from stakeholders is the opportunity with this facility to host boat shows as well. And so this is an opportunity, again, to really not pigeonhole yourself with one specific type of event. And that's why we recommend, again, flexible court layouts. Also additional things like, flex rooms instead of locker rooms. Locker rooms actually are not necessary for youth and amateur sports, but having flex rooms that could be used as party rooms, that could be used as coaches' rooms, changing rooms, et cetera. If we can go to the next slide, please. in general, part of our study was to kind of give a preliminary cost assessment of what a facility could cost. By no means is this a hard and fast cost on what a facility like this would cost, but just a general range. And ultimately, with an engineering firm and architecture firm, you can get more specific, precise costs, and depending on the finish of those facilities. But as part of our study as well, we can talk about how facilities are value engineered as well. So we just completed 2 years ago, a feasibility study for the Williamsburg Sports and Event Center in Williamsburg, Virginia. So the front-facing part of the facility, this is a well over 150,000 square feet facility. The front of the facility is very nice brick and mortar, but the actual bay of the indoor court space is essentially metal siding, but it still looks beautiful. It's going to open this summer, so I can send you guys, and I'll pass it through to Eric, what that facility is going to look like. And so there are ways to go about it, but again, an 8 to 12 court facility, typically from the research, and again, this is all shown in 2025 construction dollars for Q4, can be anywhere from $300 to $375 per square foot. So that range can be anywhere, generally in the high 30 millions to almost $70 million. Again, this is just a preliminary range for you to get an understanding of what these facilities could be. We can go to the next slide, please. And then this was also in your full report as well. This is by no means what Osage Beach should try to replicate, but this just gives you an example of the features that these facilities have. Probably the best example is, as I mentioned, the Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk in Overland Park, Kansas. This was recently built, don't be alarmed by the cost. This is actually part of the whole complex that they had to build as well, so that's not comparable in that sense. However, you'll notice that it's 8 basketball courts convertible to 16 volleyball courts or pickleball courts. They have a performance training center, They also have a family entertainment center. So what you'll see with a lot of these facilities is that it's not just having the sports there, but also becoming a destination so that these facilities are capturing as much economic impact as possible. We can go to the next slide, please. The Beal Center, this is a little bit more simplified than Blue Hawk. 9 indoor courts, but as you can see here, all that really matters is the courts, right? And then you have a mezzanine level. You're starting to see a lot with sports. You may be parents of children, but unfortunately, some parents go a little bit too crazy with their kids, and so a lot of the designs now with sports facilities is they're trying to put the parents away from the action. And so you're starting to see more of these concepts, or you're starting to see concepts where you'll have the courts and then you'll actually have a restaurant on a second floor where parents will have glass and they can actually see the action and they can have a drink if they want, but a way that they can enjoy the action without being too involved, which will affect the refs and everything. So culturally that may not be an issue here in Osage Beach, but we've been in some communities where it's a huge issue. So just something to keep in mind. We can go to the next slide, please. Again, just another example here in Springfield, a smaller facility here, 94,000 square feet, but 4 basketball courts convertible to 8 volleyball courts. Go to the next slide. So that's, again, just kind of a whirlwind, quick approach on our process that we took. And in terms of, Eric had mentioned not looking for a decision on this today, but our recommendation is, based on our research, that there is demand for an indoor sports facility, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Alderman Hoffman.
First of all, thank you. This is great data, and appreciate all the time and research you guys have done. I've heard good things all over the city about you guys, your approach. The courts are. How does pickleball and volleyball? How can those courts be the same?
That's a great question. So, generally speaking, for these types of facilities, for indoor sports facilities that you're going to have that multi-use, minimum you need to have hardwood courts. Period. The lines will be painted different colors for allowing for basketball, volleyball, and also for pickleball. You're seeing some pickleball groups demand, if we're going to have this facility and we're going to use it for sanctioned pickleball events, they need to be actual dedicated pickleball facilities. That's not the case in every community. They're going to ask for that. But if you build, hypothetically speaking, if you were to build an indoor sports facility and if you paint the lines correctly for pickleball, people are still going to come and use it no matter what, because they're going to find a way to do it, right? And it's not in every community's best interest to build a pickleball specific facility, because in certain areas it's not as popular as others, one thing, but also two, from an event organizer standpoint, the pickleball community seeks specific venues and specific markets that make sense for their target audience, right? So from our professional opinion, and we've done specific pickleball specific facility feasibility studies in certain communities, but the best practice from a financially fiscal standpoint, especially when they're being developed and led by the public sector, is to have venues that are as multi-purpose as possible. And that kind of goes against what we, as a culture, we did 20, 30 years ago, where you'd build venue specific or sport specific venues, right? Soccer specific, football specific, baseball specific. But the name of the game now is, especially on the heels of recessions and on the heels of COVID, is to not put your eggs in one basket. And with an indoor sports facility, again, from a fiscal responsible standpoint, conservative standpoint, is to maximize programming in a facility so that you're trying to be as diverse as possible and ensure usage nonstop.
So that was kind of leading to, you led me right into my second question,
Okay.
which is, if you went that, would those actual, let's just call them larger pickleball tournaments, would they pretty much turn their nose up to coming to this kind of a multi-purpose thing? Or?
Not necessarily, no. Like I said, if the market makes sense and they say, well, we're going to have access to this, at minimum, we're going to have, we have a lot of, so for example, if USA Pickleball, which is a national sanctioning body, right, they say, we have a lot of attendees that travel frequently to the lake area. And so if you guys build this facility and you have the right lines, maybe we'll bring in our own flooring or temporary flooring to make it work, because we think this is an attractive market, right? But ultimately, though, you don't want to build specific facilities for larger groups like that unless you sometimes get like a significant commitment from them, where they're going to say, okay, we're going to book out 30 regional pickleball events a year if we have access to the facility. That kind of changes the narrative, right? But if you're only going to maybe get 2 or 3 USA Pickleball sanctioned events a year, then it kind of weighs, well, is that really worth it when we can have, 10 volleyball tournaments, which are going to have maybe a greater economic impact because you're going to bring families, right? For USA Pickleball events, typically you're talking about adults, and you may have 1 or 2 people traveling. But when you're talking about a girls volleyball tournament, you're talking about 4 or 5 people traveling. So the economic impact is much higher in that regard.
Right. So last question. How, if you were going to use that for boats, which I think would be fantastic,
sure,
that would seem like that might mess up the courts. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's a great. So again, we're kind of speaking high level here. So 2 different ways to do that. So there are some facilities that have hardwood courts, but they're actually essentially court sport type concepts where you can break them apart like puzzles. But here's the thing: if you do that and you just have concrete floor, which will work for a boat show, now you need to have storage space for those courts, right? So again, if you start to think about, okay, we want to have an indoor facility, in this case called a multi-event space, then you need to think, okay, if we're going to host these types of events, and this is where an architecture and engineering firm will come more in handy, but then that actually significantly can increase the cost on the facility. Then you also have to think about loading and unloading docking zones and things like that, which aren't as common in all indoor sports facilities, but it is something that can be happened. So again, that is a consideration. We do have some facilities that are initially just built with a concrete floor, but they then have storage space for those courts that they can put together. The other thing, too, in the case of Williamsburg, which I had just mentioned, that community insisted and needed indoor turf space, not for hosting tournaments, but for local usage, for practices, et cetera. And so they actually have an innovative new rollout turf that's going to go right over the courts. And so, but again, that's a significant cost. So that whole project there is about $80 million. So it really just, it really depends.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Osteen.
I actually don't have any questions. It's more comments. I appreciate the study you've done. It's information that we've been asking for and wanting for a few years. FYI, I sit on the board of the Tri-County YMCA. I have for the last 15 years. And so I've been involved in some of these studies, and everything you're presenting is kind of a reiteration of a lot of information we've received previously. So a few things on this. I would like to have more information regarding the construction cost breakdown other than just a per square footage estimate to kind of give us a better idea on the cost side of it. On the next steps, I think phase 2 is kind of just pretty much an umbrella with a lot of different subcategories under it, but it all comes down to dollars.
Yep.
So from a board standpoint, you stated, okay, here's what our study says you should have. So for us as a board, it comes down to the dollars. Okay, give us an idea on what this is going to do, category B. How many individuals is that going to bring to the lake on events and attendance? And item E on this list, the economic impact that it'll have for the city. There's a lot under here, which obviously are part of the whole piece of the puzzle, but I think from our standpoint, yes, this is what you're saying that we need. Well, give us some dollars and cents breakdown on that cost and how that's going to impact us financially as a city.
Bingo.
Yeah, well, yes, that's great points, and I'll discuss, circle back with Eric on how to provide that information to you. Ultimately, like I said, the way that we break out these feasibility studies is two-pronged. It's the market feasibility phase, which is to see is there demand for, oftentimes we'll get hired by a community to see what facility makes sense in our community, and other times it's we have a vision for this type of facility. Let us know if it's justifiable from a market standpoint. And then phase 2 actually dives specifically into the financial operations. Who should operate it? So should it be publicly operated? Should it be privately operated? And one of the reasons why we get hired often by communities is because we don't operate facilities. We simply do the pre-planning research for communities to say, is it worth it? What are the risks and et cetera? And so our competitors, which many of them are operators, you have to kind of sometimes think, okay, are they actually giving us what's really real, or do they just want to operate the facility? But we have we don't generate additional business whether this facility gets built or not. We want to give you, this community, as much information so that they can make an informed decision on what's best for their community. So I'll circle back with Eric on preparing that for you.
Thank you.
Alderman Hoffman.
Have you gotten as far as to see what places this would work at in Osage Beach, like location?
That's phase 2.
That's part of phase 2. Yeah. So initially, it's just kind of assessing. Okay, does this make sense, right? Because in our phase 1 process, it could have been multiple facilities. We could have said there's demand for a pickleball facility, there's demand for an indoor sports facility, there's demand for an outdoor sports complex, and then a city or community might say, okay, help us analyze all of them. Where does it make the most sense for each of those facilities individually on where it might make sense? So that's what we did with Hamilton County in Ohio, which there was demand for all these different facilities, and they kind of, it was at the county level, so they said, okay, identify these different cities within the county that make the most sense based on their needs, and so that was part of our phase 2 process. So in this case, assuming we were to get direction from the city, then we would look more specifically at where would make most sense from an economic standpoint, and when we look at that is access to hotels, proximity to major freeways, et cetera, retail, restaurants, and so we would do a deeper dive into that.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the members of the City Council.
Eric, did you have anything else?
Yeah, no, no, thank you very much for all the hard work you and George and the team did. Again, you got 2 weeks, phone's available. Mr. Rucker's already called me, Phyllis has already called me, so happy to field any questions you have before the next 2 weeks when we make a motion. So,
Eric, I do have one question real quick.
Yes, sir.
Are they staying here the whole time, or are they out and then they come back if we approve it?
So again, if we go into phase 2, there will be another trip back, but no, they're not staying here the whole time.
Not staying here the whole time,
Yeah.
okay. Thanks.
So, yeah.
Were you offering a place to stay?
Well, no, it's no secret that first and second readings are not my favorite thing, but if they're sitting in a hotel room doing nothing for 2 weeks, that'd be kind of silly.
Okay.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah, Alderman Osteen.
So just to clarify, so on the March 5th agenda, this will be just a motion to move forward with phase 2.
Yes, sir.
But going back to my comments, I'm on board with that, but I think instead of going the full boat of what they've got listed as phase 2, that we dial that down to specific areas that will help us in the decision process before we want to move on to some of these other phases. Because first of all, this is a lot of information to digest.
Yes, it is.
And like I said previously, it comes down to money. If this is what it's going to cost us, tell us how much it's going to bring it in. Then we can flesh out the rest of these details.
All right, we can do that. Okay, so it changes the scope of what we agreed to phase 2 is going to be, and I can talk with Walter and Brian and see what that looks like.
I don't know if other members of the board are of the same mindset, but
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we can tackle that off dais later, though, right?
okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
thank
yeah,
you.
we can work on the scope.
Okay.
We'll work through it. I understand that. Yeah. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You can stay at Hoffman's place next time.
Bring your pickleball.
All right, next we're going to move on to first reading, Bill 26-14, ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 100, Section 100.220, design guidelines as set forth. City Attorney Cole Bradbury, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. This is really Jeff's idea. I wrote it, but Jeff, do you want to take off with it?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. Typically, these kinds of things are adopted by reference in the code, allowing staff to make adjustments as needed without too much delay. We have a few things on deck that we definitely want to update here very soon, and this would also give you the ability to review those changes. I think it's 20 days, is that right, Cole? Or
20 business days.
20
So
business days.
Functionally, it's a month.
Yeah, but it allows us to make those adjustments and updates as we need, as we learn new things or other guidelines change that influence our design guidelines. I can tell you much of our focus is going to be on doing things that are practical, that don't cost folks and businesses more money than is necessary. I'll give you an example. Our current guideline has detention, stormwater management and detention requirements. And we only give the design engineer 2 options for runoff coefficients. And that has a huge impact. After we took a look at it here recently, against industry practices, which give a menu of surfaces that engineers can use, we discovered that one business was able to save $30,000 on detention, new business, just by using industry practice and not restricting them to 2 different surfaces. And then we have erosion control that keeps coming up, and not enough options for developers to do that. So these things we want responsible development. We also want to have as little impact as we can financially.
Questions from the board? Alderman Hoffman.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if, I don't know, it's probably 2 years ago now, but we did kind of tighten our belt about stormwater and erosion and seeding, and I can't go back, can't remember all the specifics of it, but the thought process of that was, protecting our shoreline as best as we could, and mud not just ending up in the back of coves. So I just hope that you're taking that into consideration.
Absolutely.
So, okay, thanks.
And I was here. I remember that one well.
I remember.
But this is just about the procedure for doing that. So if the board doesn't approve of one of the changes, this is the procedure we adopted for HR. This is the exact same guideline change procedure we put in place, so that if the board has no objection, it can just go through. But the 20 business days gives the board more than enough time to say, hey, we have concerns, or we want to hear this at a board meeting, and gives the board the chance to direct staff, hey, slow down, we want to ask questions. So it's not about a particular change. But Jeff asked if this was something that was possible, and I said, well, we've got precedent in the HR code, and he asked if we could do that. So that's all this ordinance does.
Alderman Collins.
Okay, so presumably now, any change would come before the board at a meeting like this.
First and
And
second
you're
reading.
asking to no longer bring it to the board at a public meeting, but just send it to the board 20 days before, and then we can request that it come to the dais?
Correct, 20 business days. So, which is about a month. It's 4 weeks.
Does the public have a chance to weigh in, or does it just go to the board?
It does just go to the board.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve first reading?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Hoffman, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman
Second.
Rose. Alderman Rose. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Bill 26-14 passes first reading. Next, we have a resolution, 2026-05, a resolution of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the filing of an application and associated tasks with the Missouri Department of Natural Resource Financial Assistance Center's funding programs for loans and/or grants under the Missouri Drinking Water Law 640, revised statutes of Missouri, ResMo, or Missouri Safe Water Law, Chapter 640, ResMo. Public Works Director Jeff Fisher.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll actually speak to this one and the next one since they're exactly the same application, or pretty close to the same. The first one's for drinking water, the second one's for clean water, which is sewer. And as I mentioned in my report at the last meeting, this would be prudent to do because they only accept applications once a year, March 1 of every year. And if the water project, the tower, the well, is in the CIP over the next 2 years, and I can't imagine we'll be able to cash fund that, but we won't know that until our rate study's over. So it would be prudent to apply, and we will plug those numbers in as they are in the CIP that you just adopted by second read tonight, and make that application before March 1. The sewer, we know we don't have those numbers just yet, but as I mentioned in the last meeting, we'll have those before March 1 and be able to file that application. Once you file the application, all it requires is if the city decides it's not in their best interest, all they ask is that we send them a letter requesting withdrawal with no consequences.
Very good. All right, comments or questions for Jeff? Alderman Osteen.
Yeah, who actually spearheads this application process on behalf of the city?
I'm writing them.
Is it you?
Yeah.
Because previously this was the assistant city administrator.
Yeah, I got requested information. April helped, Devin helped, a few different staff members helped me with data and information, Eric. And then we have, in the sewer case, we'll have one consultant helping us, but primarily on water, we're doing it.
Okay, I was just curious.
All right, anyone else? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2026-05?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Collins, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Barella, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, Resolution 2026-05 passes. Next, we have Resolution 2026-06, resolution of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the filing of an application and associated tasks with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources Assistance Center's funding program for loans and/or grants under the Missouri Clean Water Law, Chapter 644.101. Jeff Fisher, anything else to add?
Nothing to add, Mayor. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Collins, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Rose, all those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none, motion 2026-06 also passes. All right, next we have a motion to reappoint Michael Harmison, that's me, as Director of Lakeport Village CID, 4-year term to expire December 31st, 2029. Cole, you want to take this?
Sure, and Mark's here, so if I get something wrong, he'll wave at me. Don't say that. The next three items are motions to reappoint the current city representatives of the Lakeport Village CID Board. I've gotten a couple of questions. We do have to appoint natural people. We cannot appoint an office, which is why it's not the mayor. It's not like a joint sewer board where it's the mayor, the city administrator, the current public works director. We do have to pick a person. So the people are Mayor Harmison, Devin, and Alderman Hoffman. These are the three that represent us on the 5-member board that governs the CID, which is largely in administrative mode now, currently approving and passing along the construction payments to be paid out of bond proceeds on the Lakeport project. Once those are done, they will largely just be passing along the revenue to repay the bonds. So happy to answer any questions. Staff does recommend approval.
Alderman Osteen.
Although this seems pretty cut and dry, I have several questions. Are these appointments retroactive? And if so, do we need to include that verbiage into the motion? Because per state statute, it's a 4-year term. If the board is approving this on February 19th, we're not fulfilling that 4-year term with an expiration date of December 31st, 2029.
So there's a general rule that the specific governs the general, so that they're filling a 4-year term, but if the term expires on December 31st, it expires on December 31st. There's no conflict between the specific date covers. It's for.
It was splitting hairs, but I was just concerned about the dates on the 4-year term.
Yes.
Okay.
It definitely expires on December 31st, 2029, whether we say 4-year or 12-year term.
And just to clarify, these are appointed positions, and should those individuals no longer serve the city in office or as employees, does the mayor at that point appoint somebody to fulfill the remainder of that term, which is usually the process, or is it verifying and appointing somebody for another 4-year term?
So this happened with Gina, and we just very nicely asked Gina to resign, and she did, because she wanted nothing to do with these positions anymore.
That's right, Mark Spikerman, Gilmore and Bell. One of the qualifications to serve on the CID board is to be a designated designee of the authorized representative of the city. So should someone leave and they no longer be an authorized representative of the city, we have to ask them to resign.
But then do we appoint somebody to fulfill the remainder of that 4-year term?
Yes.
And then in 4 years, we reappoint.
The city would say, you are no longer authorized to represent us, if Devin wins the lottery and moves to Barbados. We would say, but she wants to keep her seat on the CID board for some weird reason.
Well, she's not fulfilling the board or city representation. So.
Yes, but we would say, you're no longer authorized to represent us, please resign, and then we would appoint someone to fill the balance of the term.
Yep.
Okay. One additional question, and this is kind of a catch-all. For all the positions we appoint to various boards, is that the same? Because all boards have representation from the board itself, and then if somebody is appointed to a 2-year term and they are no longer in office, do we appoint somebody to fulfill the remainder of that term, or do we appoint somebody to do a whole new 2-year term?
I don't know if
4-year term.
I don't know if the agreement specifies the length of the term. Does it specify the length of the term?
So with respect to CIDs, there's a petition that sets forth the 4-year terms, and the terms have to be staggered. That's why we have 3 terms coming up, or came up for renewal this year, and we have 2 terms coming up for renewal in 2027.
Okay.
And so they start out, to stagger them, the first terms may be 2 years, and then they become 4-year terms.
Okay. Like I said, I'm just trying to clarify regarding term limits, appointments of vacant terms, et cetera.
There are intricacies of it, but yeah, it does all work out if something, if one of those scenarios were to come up.
Okay, that's all I had.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes, kind of a follow-up. I talked with Kohler.
Alderman Rucker, can you get a little closer to the microphone, please?
Okay, I'll talk a little bit louder. How's that?
Better? A little.
Okay, I guess to speak on your side anyway, but the concern I have is what if the person cannot or will not resign?
They can be removed by a majority of the board should they cease to be an authorized representative and therefore qualified to serve on the CID.
Basically, the board.
Thank you.
Basically, the board removes them.
No.
Okay, because you could have death or you could have a hostile situation. I just wanted to know how to handle it. Thank you.
All right.
I knew there was an answer to that. I couldn't remember the authorized representative language when I was talking to Alderman Rucker.
Anyone else? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve? Me.
Motion to approve you.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Rose, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, seeing none. Congratulations. Thank you. Next, we have, sorry. Motion to reappoint Devin Lake as the Director of Lakeport Village CID, 4-year term to expire December 31st, 2029. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Collins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none. Congratulations, Devin. Next, we have motion to approve, reappoint Justin Hoffman as Director of Lake Village CID, 4-year term to expire December 31st, 2029. Any comments or questions?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Alderman Barella, is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Osteen, all those in favor?
Aye.
Seeing none, motion to approve. Congratulations, Alderman Hoffman.
Thanks to everyone, but Alderman Osteen.
Next, we have another motion to approve work order number 2 with Archer Elgin Engineering for the water well location study fiscal year 2025 carryover project not to exceed $71,000. Jeff Fisher, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I first want to just recognize Colton Wright back here. He's our project manager. I could not remember if I had introduced him yet or not, but he's learning quick and doing a great job, really. He's very thorough, which we need. And so he's involved with Caleb in running this project and some others, and I may need him later when I make a couple of reports. This is the first step. This is budgeted. This is the site location study, which would be followed up by a design of the water well and tower later on. So there would be another task order coming at the end of this to the design, unless we decide to, and you support an alternative delivery method, which Cole and I have talked a little bit about, which would just change up the organization around project preparation. And I'll entertain any questions, yeah.
Comments from the board. Alderman Hoffman.
I'm actually just curious. I assume that the well and the tower are aligned or very close to each other. Is that standard?
Don't have to be, but most likely that would be the case.
Okay.
That's why we may want to design build them as a package.
Right. Okay. That's what I was that's what I was alluding to, is we want to do this all together.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
Possibly.
All right. Thanks.
Anyone else? Alderman Osteen.
I've just got questions regarding the process, again, on the budget. So this was a carryover project from 2025. So if this is now going to be part of the 2026 budget, do we not need to make an amendment to change the budget?
It's a carryover.
And line item it?
It was
It's the
carried over. Correct.
So there's
it's
no
already in the budget.
resolution involved, it's strictly just a motion to approve.
Correct.
And if it's a carryover, then I'm confused also on why it needs board approval if it's still a carryover with funds available.
Because it's $71,000, anything over $25,000.
But, okay. Off-record questions regarding this, which I'll table for now. Once again, it's just the process, and I always have questions regarding carryovers and how that's reflected on our current budget, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
That's all.
Alderman Rose.
I'm asking because I don't know. I presume we have used this engineering company in the past?
We have them. They are one of the 7 on-call design firms that you all approved in the fall. And actually, this company was here for the original water system construction. So we were fortunate to have them. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other questions, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Alderman Morose. Is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Collins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion is approved. Last item of new business, we have a motion to approve Missouri Department of Transportation Highway Safety and Traffic Division City Council Authorization Form. Police Chief Todd Davis, please.
Mayor and members of the board, this is a form that you guys sign and approve every year for us to apply for our highway safety grants from the Missouri Department of Transportation. This year, we've applied for overtime funds to assist in hazardous moving violations and DWI to the amount of HMV, or the hazardous moving, $9,566.24, and DWI enforcement, $9,806.40. Police Department recommends approval.
Comments or questions for Chief? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Collins, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Brell, all those in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Moving on to staff communications, we'll start with our city administrator, Devin Lake, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. First of all, I wanted to thank Abby and Maddie and Caitlin for helping put on an amazing employee appreciation dinner a couple weeks ago. Myself and Alderman Hoffman, Alderman Collins, and Alderman Osteen and the mayor attended the legislative conference in the last couple of days, and that was really good. And I also want to thank Eric Hundell. He has really drove our marketing program. He's forming relationships with local schools, which I think is going to be a really great benefit to multiple of our departments. And he's just really forging his way in his role. So I appreciate everything you've done. That's all I have.
Thank you. Assistant City Administrator April White, please.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I wanted to say happy birthday, Ty. And also wanted to comment and recognize Abby on the dinner. We had such great feedback, and I know Maddie kind of turned that over to Abby and let her loose this year and with some guidelines, and she did great. I know she had some help from Caitlin and Keegan and some other departments and employees, but excellent job, Abby. And last, I don't know if the board or any members of the public have seen this park sponsorship guide yet, but it is excellent. Eric, during the off-season, takes his crews to other parks to look at their facilities and rec centers and just how they do things, just for ideas and kind of team building. And a couple cities they visited showed them their sponsorship guide. And so Holly and Caitlin took that and ran with it, and it is excellent. And they are pushing it out now for sponsorships. Especially love the new park logo with the royal blue letters. Great job, Holly. I love it. Really makes it pop. So, great job.
All right. Thank you. City Attorney Cole Brevery.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I also wanted to recognize everyone who put on the employee appreciation dinner. That was the best one I've been to. I thought you guys did a great job. And also just wanted to echo what Jeff said about Colton. Colton's been a real pleasure to work with, knows his stuff, and is really on time with his communications, even if I'm not always back. So that's all I've got tonight.
All right, thank you. City Clerk, Tara Barrett.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Also, happy birthday, Ty. Great job to HR. You guys did an amazing job. It was a lot of fun. I know it was a lot of work, but it was great. Other than that, I'll be out of office tomorrow at a clerk's division meeting in Lebanon. And I think, oh, sorry about your hotels. I'll fix that. Yeah, thank you, that's it.
All right, Chief Davis.
We've had some promotions in the police department. We had corporal promotions after Corporal Reiner and Corporal Chapman both left to go to other agencies. We had 6 officers go through the process. We promoted Corporal Summer Phillips, and Summer's been with us for 3 years and 5 months. And Corporal Justin Hutzler, he's been with us for 4 years and 8 months. So if you see them out on the street, they both have taken over their new positions within the last week. So congratulations to them. The other 4, they all did outstanding. We had an outside interview panel, written test, and then command staff rated them as well. And they all did good. They said we got a great bunch of people, the group from the outside that came in and did our interviews for us. Officer Rosenberg completed taser instructor certification this week. He is looking for a suspect to tase in his first class if anybody wants to step up for it. And then I'll be out of the office tomorrow with Cops on Top. Myself and some of the other officers will be on top of Hy-Vee gas station raising money for Special Olympics. So we'll be there from 6 to 6. Come by, drop some funds in the bucket for us. And then next Friday, I start the Super Plunge, 24 times, 24 hours. And then, of course, on Saturday, we have the strut, the Pee Wee Plunge, the regular plunge, and the chili cook-off. And I know some of you have stepped up to be judges at the Parade of Costumes or chili judges, so we appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Ron White, got anything tonight, building official?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. First, it kind of hurts a little bit to hear Cole say that this was the best appreciation dinner he's been to. I missed this one, unfortunately. I feel like there may be a correlation there, but I'm not completely sure. I would like to update the board on the fact that U.S. Disaster Restoration began working on the reconstruction of the City Hall side of the building and the lower level this past Monday. The sheetrock repairs have been made, and they're currently in the process of taping and mudding. Sealing tiles and painting will be next. Our final step will be the carpet replacement in those affected areas. And like I said, I wasn't at the appreciation dinner, but I would like to publicly recognize Mike Masitis, our building maintenance tech, who has done an absolutely fabulous job with our department and with assisting other departments for being awarded the City of Osage Beach Employee of the Year. He is very deserving, and a lot of it probably has to do with excellent leadership. But that's a total lie. He is a self-motivator and just a fantastic asset to this city. As far as the tasing goes, we do have a birthday boy, just nominating one person.
Second.
Hearing none opposed. The other thing is we did receive a building permit application recently that includes about 4,500 pages of plans and specifications. This will be our first time using the third-party consultant that was contracted in coordination with the engineers that Jeff had researched. I could do the review, but many of you will probably retire before that would be completed. So looking forward to working with GBA, George Butler and Associates, and their Building Code Services Department to get this completed in a timely manner so that we can see some construction coming out of the ground. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Human Resource, Maddie. We need to get that. I finally learned how to say your name, and then you changed it.
Moon.
Moon, Maddie Moon.
It's a lot less vowels now. Accolades totally go to Abby for the Employee Appreciation Dinner. She's done an excellent job with coordinating her team members and executing that, and I think she did a phenomenal job. And wanted to thank our community business partners who donated prizes for the employee raffle. It was much appreciated. Not much else going on in the HR realm besides we're wrapping up performance evaluations this week, and we should be applying those on payroll next week.
Very good. Airport, tied in still. Birthday boy.
Thank you. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. 42 never felt so good. The only thing the airport has going on right now, we actually have a request for bids out for the new fuel truck. So hopefully, I think those bids close next week. Excuse me. So hopefully in March here, we'll have something for you for approval. Thank you.
Very good. Very Gregory, Parks.
Thank you, Mayor. As April mentioned earlier, in January, February, March, our off-season, I reach out to other parks departments within an hour or two of Osage Beach and request a tour, and been doing this for many years with my previous career. It's a great way to network and gain new ideas, and it's nice to get the team out and kind of see new things. So thanks in advance to Rolla Parks. We're going to visit tomorrow, so we're excited about that. Just a reminder, Youth League registration opens February 1st. It'll be open until March 14th. Our recreation specialist, Caitlin, has been extremely busy coordinating that with my assistance, but it's been mainly her. We already have quite a few people registered, so it's going to be a busy season for us. Go to the city website under Youth League Baseball and Softball for more information, or check the Osage Beach Parks Facebook page. The Parks Department also, Caitlin and I are busy planning the season. We're going to have a lot more special events this year, to include the big 4th of July celebration, which will also include a parade, so we're excited about that, coordinating that. And then we're also working on more smaller family-friendly programs. So work continues on the Hatchery Ridge Trail. Happy to report there's probably 60% of it completed. A special thanks to volunteers from Magic Dragon Trails Group. They spent a lot of hours on this, and we very much appreciate it. And our goal was to have it complete by Memorial Day weekend. I'm very confident that it's going to be complete much earlier than that. Also happy to report that the new playground installation started by the playground contractor this past Monday and at Peanut Park. And so if all goes well, we're hoping by mid-April if the weather cooperates, but we'll see. And other than that, happy 65th birthday, Ty. That's a big milestone for you. So that's all I have.
Marketing, Eric Hundelt.
All right. So at the end of last year, when we were building out the marketing plan, you know, Holly and I met and we challenged her to think a little bit differently about social media. We're being more proactive. And if you haven't had a chance to follow the city page, please do, because I think the content has improved over the last, you know, I look at things year to date, and it's just gauged by our level of engagement. It's been through the roof. So the work that Holly's doing, driving that, it's been fantastic. And, you know, one of the other things that she's spearheading with Alderman Hoffman is the Community Cup. And last Community Cup, we all met at Bonnie's and talked about public works and a lot of conversation around the sewer. And one of the things that came out of that was probably getting a little bit more transparency, right? Because we understand what the root cause is. We understand what we're doing to fight that. And so Holly got with Jeff and developing a series of videos. So, and those have been very well received on the social media as well. So we're going to continue to do that. They'll live on the website eventually and drive it that way. And in concert with all of that, which is a great plug for the MML, as I kind of alluded to earlier, we are submitting for the Innovation Award. We are going to be submitting the Bugs program. And one of the things that's required on the MML piece is, number one, is it replicatable to other municipalities? So we've been very clear to articulate that. But then it's also like, how are we then making sure that people are aware of it? So besides Jeff and Heartland, our distributor, reaching out to other municipalities, video content like what Jeff and Holly are putting together is also another form of how we're actively promoting it. So will help us there immensely, I'm sure. Major League Fishing. Last time we had a board meeting, we said it was off the table. It's kind of back on, you know, so I've been working with their tournament director, Chris, renegotiating some pricing a little bit. You know, when we were doing the original negotiation, they sent us over the agreement. Cole gave us some feedback on what needed to change, as well as our rider. And so where it stands right now is I've sent them all that back, and if they can abide by our rider and make the change to the agreement that we need, then we'll be moving forward with that. I hope they have an answer by tomorrow on that one. So please stay tuned on that one. And then lastly is you guys, before I came on board, you guys had your strategic planning meeting, and one of the things that you talked about was doing an industry study. And so Carrie and I have been working on this. We put together an RFP. We talked to a few different firms to help us with that. Work with Tara's group to get the bid posted out there. So we're currently accepting bids to do the multi-industry study. Phyllis, Alderman Morose, this is something that that you and I talked about yesterday. So there'll be more details to do there. So more to follow there. But that's kind of what's going on with the marketing and communications group.
All right, thank you. Jeff Fisher, Public Works.
Thanks, Mayor. Before I make a few reports, I just wanted to share with you that Caleb DeVore and his wife are just had a baby girl. Yeah. She delivered Tuesday morning really early, and mom and baby are healthy, and so just congratulations to Caleb and his wife. Secondly, talking about the bugs and that kind of stuff. I think there's reason to be optimistic about the work that's been going on with bugs and aerators and the work that the team did at Sands and finished up a couple weeks ago now. I'm not celebrating anything right now. I'd like to get through May and June, but it's going well. And I bring that up to say that I mentioned this in our coffee session. Oftentimes in my experience, staff already has the ideas, the solutions in hand. And sometimes they just need the support to do it and be empowered to do it. And that is exactly what has happened at Sands. Bugs already started before I got here. Just keep going with it, experimenting, using it. The aerators are already things they were using. We just had to think about things a little bit differently. And then the work that they did, the physical modifications to the well at Sands was always Chris's idea, Chris Duncan. All he needed was somebody to say, let's go do it. And they did it. They finished it up, made some adjustments, and so far it's working. And so I'm real excited for Chris because it was something he thought would be a solution, and between the three of those solutions, it's working. But again, I don't want to celebrate, I just want to recognize the work that they've done so far. We have two projects to report on. One, I believe, was awarded in late '24, and the other was awarded in early '25. And for a variety of reasons, we're just getting started on them. You might remember the water main loop project. I believe that one's like north of $400,000 contract. Colton and I and JD getting started on that discovered that the contract didn't include a performance bond. It had a bid bond, did not have a performance bond, and that is required by code, and that is best practice. And so we had a couple of conversations with the contractor, and they're a good contract. We have good experience with them. And we told them, we're going to have a performance bond. Well, performance bond is for the full cost of the contract, which would be over $400,000. A bond costs about 3%. They elected to forego the bid bond and drop the contract. So we both just mutually agreed that was in our best interest. So we will be rebidding that project as soon as we can. Secondly, the project called Sewer Station 30-5. It's a rehab and moving a manhole out of the shoreline, just making general improvements. We get started on that project finally. It was intentionally not started until the winter. That's what the contractor was told was best. And started excavating, and this is a sewer project, and we discovered an old treatment plant, a sewer treatment plant that had been filled in, and now it's caused all kinds of problems. So we believe we can still get this done this spring, but we're going to have to make holistic changes to how we get it done. So the problem now is that the change order, I think the project's like $240,000, something like that. The change order alone is $190,000. So we're just kind of going back to the drawing board with the contractor and figure out how to get this done, get the best outcome we can, and ideally spend under what you approved to spend on this project. So I will keep you posted on that. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer those, and Colton's here to help me.
When's the last time the mayor called you?
It's been a little while. I'm not counting days.
I keep telling him that I call him probably more than anybody, saying, we got to smell again, we got to smell again, and it's been a while, so appreciate it much.
Been a little while, yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, city planner, Kerry Patterson, please.
Yes, Mayor. So we will have a planning commission meeting in the month of March on the 10th. And unless something happens, I probably won't be here on Monday because I'll be doing my civic duty for the judicial system of Camden County unless lawyers do what they do, and then they'll probably move it to Tuesday or Wednesday. So either way, I'll be out one day at least next week. But that's what I'll be doing. That's all I've got, Mayor.
All right, thank you much. Alderman Rucker, how about you?
Nope, I don't have anything. I took care of it all prior to the meeting. Thank you.
Well, it's about 72 here today. What's it like there?
81.
All right, you got us. All right, Alderman Collins.
I'll start by saying congratulations, Caleb, and happy birthday, Ty. I also, not to pile on, but the employee appreciation dinner was awesome. You guys did a great job. You could tell how much work went into it. LaRocca was a great venue. Like they did a great job. Smoke and Jones did the catering, and it was fabulous. Chief, I don't want to volunteer to be tased, but if you're accepting nominations, I have a few. I agree, the social media content lately has been fantastic. You guys have done a really great job, and Jeff, I've really learned a lot on your videos. I think they're fantastic for the community, and myself as well. And then Mardi Gras Pub Crawl is this weekend, so anybody who is participating in that, please have fun, but be safe, and yeah, be aware of your surroundings.
And Harmy's is on it this year.
There you go. And that's
Yes,
all I've got.
I gave a plug. Thank you very much. Alderman Morose.
Well, first of all, the presentation of this Victus, I think we had a really good recommendation to use this company. And I know a couple times in the past since I've been on the board, we've had some feasibility studies, and it just, to me, we didn't get the full details. We didn't get a lot of that they have done, and very, very impressive, absolutely. I think it's wonderful that our community foundation had given the park a grant for $9,000 that literally will help towards our Magic Dragon trails off of Hatchery Road, so that was good news. And happy birthday, Kai. That's it.
Thank you. Alderman Osteen.
Yes, I've got a few things this evening. First of all, I would like to thank Eric for helping bring forward the sports feasibility study, which is something that we have been wanting for quite some time. It's a lot to digest, but it is the first step in moving forward with discussions and direction on what we want to do with that information. We had the opportunity to attend the annual MML Legislative Conference the last 2 days in Jefferson City. At that conference, we have panel discussions with legislators on upcoming legislation before the state and what the legislation will do and how it impacts our cities and communities. We also had a series of speakers that are high up the ladder within the state of Missouri. Very successful conference. But if you'd like to hear some horror stories about hotel rooms, please see Devin and I. They had to comp our rooms. It was pretty bleak. A few things too. I wanted to reiterate that the Mardi Gras Pub Crawl is this weekend. There are several businesses in the city of Osage Beach that are part of that, so please support your local businesses. If you have free time tomorrow, please stop at Hy-Vee to support the Cops on Top charity event, which the Osage Beach Police Department is part of. Good luck to those that are part of the Polar Bear Plunge. It will not be so polar bearish because the extended forecast says it's supposed to be 65 on that day. So for once, it's not going to be frigid and freezing. So best of luck there. Anyway, that's all I had this evening.
Thank you very much. Alderman Hoffman.
Happy birthday, Ty. You're welcome. Yeah, the MML conference was good other than the hotel room. One word, Marriott for next year. I would like to give a special thank you to who we met with, which was Representative Knight out of Lebanon, Representative Mayhew out of essentially the Crocker area, and then Representative Vernetti from our local 123rd. They took time not just to meet with us. It was really great discussion. And they were very open and very inviting to us, and I want to tell them thanks because it wasn't just a glaze over. And the more that a special thanks to Representative Vernetti. We've really been able to work with him a lot, and it's not seen by the public, but when the local municipalities are working well with the state, a lot of things do tend to get done quickly and efficiently. So I do thank him for that. And lastly, I would like to say congratulations to the USA women's hockey team for bringing home the gold. Hopefully the men do it on Sunday. That's it.
All right, thank you. Alderman Barella.
Well, probably did it what everybody else said, but the employee appreciation party was very nice. Ty, happy birthday. And just a big thanks to Jeff. I've really appreciated those videos. There's a lot there I don't know or understand, and I'm sure that goes for a lot of the community members as well. And so I think they're very informational. And I will not be out doing buses and Mardi Gras stuff, but if you are, be safe.
Really?
No.
Thank you much. I got a few things. Most of them are repeats, but I got to go back to the employee appreciation dinner too. It was wonderful. And appreciate all those that planned it. As mayor, they asked me to say a few things, and each year it gets more and more comfortable. And to say, and I'll just say it here on the dais too, is I just really feel like we're a family here at the city of Osage Beach with the board and the staff. And for those of you that are part of the book club, you'll know what I mean when I say we are getting the right people on the bus. And as I said that night, I could not be more proud of the direction we're going with the people on the bus. So thanks to the staff and board, and we really have amazing things going on. So appreciate everything we're doing here at City Hall. Thank you, Jeff Fisher. Yes, the morning coffee at Bonnie's was very informative. Hopefully we'll get some more people out there next time, but we have identified the problem. We're in the process of taking care of it, and yes, I do call Jeff quite often, and sometimes I'll just say, haven't smelled anything all weekend. What did we do, or what didn't we do? And they're learning, they're trial and error, and so thanks you to Chris and the whole crew out there. Appreciate it so much. We also attended Eggs and Issues last week with the chamber and listened to a bunch of community leaders doing a wonderful thing. And then the legislative conference, I too wanted to thank Representative Vernetti and Mayhew. They took the time to sit with us and speak with us and talk to us. And I did get a text back from the governor. I texted him to see if he could meet with us. And later he said, oh, I'm so sorry I missed you. But he said, you're doing great things down there in Osage Beach. And I missed Representative Knight, but appreciate the city sending us up there. It was very informative. Polar Plunge, good luck, Chief. Good luck tomorrow. And again, if you can get out to Hy-Vee, cops on top. Colton, welcome aboard. Appreciate it. And also, if you guys haven't seen, Officer right now is with Freya, fully trained, back on duty. So good luck to seeing them. And I don't know if you've seen those dogs before, but they're just amazing. And I was telling Chief today, a 3 weeks ago, I Googled something about these dogs. And now I keep getting all this information. They're amazing creatures. So appreciate Officer Wright. And sounds like they're both getting along well. And
They are.
New team. Happy birthday, Ty. And that's all I have. 62, is that right? Ty? Yes. Yeah, me too. All right, so that's it for our regular session. We are going to go into executive session tonight, so I got a few things to read here legally. The notice is now given that an agenda includes a roll call vote to close a meeting as allowed by RESMO section 610.021, legal actions, causes of action, litigation involving a public governmental body, and any confidential privileged communications between a public governmental body or its representatives and its attorneys. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
Motion to move into executive session.
Alderman Hoffman, is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Collins, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Osteen?
Yes.
Alderman Murrows?
Yes.
Alderman Collins?
Yes.
Alderman Barella?
Yes.
Alderman Hoffman?
Yes.
Alderman Rucker?
Yes, but will not be attending.